The Claws of Night made the highest DPS build I've ever used. Stacking successive attack power buffs and the innate bleed of the weapon can make a build that cheeses the bosses unintentionally by being too powerful for the AI to handle. You'll have to go far into the DLC to get this weapon. Near the end of Ymir's questline, at the Cathedral of Manus Meter, fight Ana when she invades you and she'll drop the Claws of Night upon defeat. Being in the Claws weapon class, this weapon has one of the fastest attack patterns in the game. The optimal way to play is to spam our light attacks to get in multiple hits at every attack window. Our R1s hit twice per attack, so attacking 6 or 8 times in a row is not uncommon. I've used fast attacking weapons before, namely dual-wielded daggers, but the claws are definitely more effective. The range on the claws are not great, but they are noticeably better than the range of daggers. The heavy attacks are unique to this weapon. The attack throws the blades of the claws to attack at range. The light attacks are preferable to the heavies in nearly every situation, and the throw range is not huge, but having a quick ranged option is nice for clearing trash mobs, or a stylish finishing move. The Ash of War is in a similar position to the heavy attack. It is a cool additional ranged option, but does cost FP, which this build does not have a lot of to spare. It looks like it would be pretty interesting in PvP, but someone in the comments will likely know much more about it, since I am a PvE exclusive creature. For our incantations, I used 2 of the usuals. Golden Vow gives us 15% more damage and 10% damage negation, which was key on this light roll build. I also used Flame Grant Me Strength, even though this buff is not very effective for the Claws of Night. Much like Sword of Night, our scaling is with dexterity, but we deal a mix of physical and magical damage. Flame Grant Me Strength only buffs physical and fire damage, therefore a more appropriate buff would be Howl of Shabriri. This increases all damage by 25%, but also decreases our damage negation by 30%. This puts us in the one-shot territory on New Game Plus 7. Sure, fights are often over quickly, therefore reducing the chance of ever taking a hit, but I prefer to not drastically reduce my damage negation, especially on a build that is so up close and personal with the enemy. The playstyle is one of the simplest. Buff up with your flask and incantations first, then we can open up with a pot or 2. I used both freezing pots and hefty rot pots. Freezing pots inflict frost, which reduces damage negation of the target for a while, and the scarlet rot inflicted by the hefty rot pots eats away at a great chunk of the boss's health bar. Our weapon inflicts bleed, and we can use equipment that increases our damage even further upon bleed proc. Be sure to like and subscribe if you enjoy the build videos, and comment down below any of your favorite successive attack power builds. I would love to use a curved sword build using the same mechanics sometime in the future. Our talismans were the 2-headed turtle talisman for the best stamina regen, the Lord of Blood's Exaltation for a 20% buff when we proc bleed, Millicent's prosthesis and the Rotten Wing Sword insignia for a nice stackable boost to our successive attack power, and 5 additional points in dexterity. I had on the Gravebird Black Quill armor for more damage with jumping attacks. For my tier setup, I ran with the Thorny Crack tier for even more successive attack power, and the Bloodsucking Crack tier. This tier works well on this build because fights are over quickly, and it doesn't give the tier much time to drain your health, but we will certainly make the most of that 20% attack boost. There were a few adjustments I could have made to the build to optimize the damage even further. The White Mask grants even more damage upon bleed proc, and stacks with the Lord of Blood's Exaltation, but I didn't use it because I don't like the way it looks on my character. The Kindred of Rot's Exaltation is great because we carry hefty rot pots. This will give us a boost in damage, just like the Lord of Blood's Exaltation, but working with poison and scarlet rot instead. I didn't use this talisman because I prefer the better stamina regen of the 2-headed turtle talisman. Finally, we can use Rakshasa's armor for more overall damage. I didn't equip any pieces of this armor because I wanted to light roll, and it wouldn't fit well with the other armor pieces aesthetically. Our stats at RL 170 were 60 Vigor, 14 Mind, 40 Endurance to light roll with our armor, 80 Dexterity, and 25 Faith. This spread was also suboptimal, since Millicent's prosthesis boosts our dexterity by 5, so it would be best to move 5 points from dexterity into mind. So, if need be, we can use Scattershot Throw a couple more times. The Claws of Night can shred through the game easily if you know how to build around them. The fast-paced moveset and the high damage ceiling make this build great for new players and unimaginably devastating for those with a bit of experience.